want a whole bunch.
Welcome in, guys. It is Brad with College SportsCast. It is October, and we are headed to week 6 of college football, and this is Game Day Pick'em. Welcome in, guys. It is Brad with College SportsCast. John Hammonds and I are here to do our Game Day Pick'ems. John, it is already October.
It's pretty amazing, and it's season's flying by, man.
Man, I mean, when October gets here, like, you know, you're well into the season when October gets here, and things really start kind of heating up in college football.
It does. It does. I'm excited about this weekend's games. I mean, there's not a lot of great games, but
There's a few.
There's a few in there mixed.
Yeah.
So
We're going to get to those, but before we do, always start out the show talking about Facebook. We appreciate you guys on Facebook and YouTube, but Facebook has really grown a lot. You can help support us by sending stars, or you can subscribe to our channel. And guys, it's only 99 cents a month. I do that for the lowest cost that we could possibly do. Does give you your own subscribers page and chat. And again, it's only 99 cents a month. So we would appreciate it. It does help us continue to do these for you guys. If you are on Facebook, please like, share, subscribe as well. Follow, like and follow. If you are on YouTube with us, we appreciate you as well. We are growing. We're up to almost 725, I think, on YouTube, and we appreciate you guys as well. Like and subscribe. Send us comments. You can share on YouTube as well. So we appreciate that. All right. We always start the show off with those little tidbits. I am going to put something else up here real quick. At the top left corner of the screen is a QR code. On this QR code, if you will scan this QR code, the QR code is with us, College SportsCast, and the Real Fresh channel. And this is a Bet US, so you can make deposits and do some betting on college sports. Please do so responsibly. But what this QR code at the top does, you get 3 deposit matches of 125%, and it does help support College SportsCast and the Real Fresh channel, and we would appreciate that. I am going to leave this up. This is Game Day Pick'ems. We are going to use spreads, and we are going to talk about these games. So with us and with Fresh Takes on Tuesday nights here at College SportsCast, they do NFL Pick'ems, and we do Friday nights College Pick'ems. You can use that QR code at the top, get 3 125% deposit matches. All right. Hammonds, we are going to get into our pick'ems this week. I do want, before we get into the very first one, I do want you to update. Will you check the score of WKU at Delaware? The game is currently going on. It was halftime
It's
a little bit ago.
20-17 Western in the third quarter, 2 minutes to go.
Western is ahead.
Yeah, 3 points. Yeah.
All right. They were down 7 at halftime, so that's good. I'm hoping that WKU Delaware has played really well, won a couple of big games. This is at Delaware. This is a true road game for the Hilltoppers. And if you guys don't know, I am really close to campus at WKU, Western Kentucky. So just trying to keep track. Also, my son is a student at WKU. So just trying to keep track of the Hilltoppers. And hopefully they can get this win tonight. Before the show's up, I might give you an update on that. All right, John. We're going to start with a game that everybody around here wants to talk about. I don't know that me and you really want to talk about it too awful much, to be honest.
And I will say, for those that are watching tonight, there will be a rant at the end of this show between me and Brad about this whole Stoops situation. So if you want to hang tight and you want to see Brad's blood pressure,
we're going to wait. We're going to wait and do that at the end of the show. I want to talk mainly football here. Kentucky is traveling to Georgia to play between the hedges. Georgia is coming off of a loss last week at home, their first loss at home since 2019. They had won 33 consecutive games at home. They did lose to Bama. It wasn't a scrub team. It was Bama last week at home. They are at home again, John, and a 20.5 point favorite on DraftKings.
I kind of want to take Kentucky in the points, but I also know how Kentucky does. They look great in the first quarter, and then the wheels come off. Kentucky's going to have to throw the football. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Now, you can probably run the ball some, but if they can't make –
Alabama sure did last week.
If they can't make downfield throws, Georgia's going to load the box, and then on the other side, Kentucky's going to have to get tackles, linebackers, DBs. They can't avoid tackles against Georgia. They're going to get big runs. If they force a few turnovers, they can probably keep this game in range. They're going to have to avoid turnovers. It's likely, I think, it's too much to overcome with Cutter Boley. I think they're in for a really big problem tomorrow. And the crazy thing is, Brad, is they've only 13 points. They've only topped, I think, 13 points just once in the last 10 games against Georgia, and none since 2018. And that's not a great success to beat Georgia. I'm going to say this, and, I know we cover Kentucky football. We cover Kentucky sports, but the Dogs will roll this game. You're probably going to be turning the TV off by halftime. And as much as I hate to say that, I feel like this is just fan apathy setting in for a lot of fans. It's just another Saturday where you get your tails beat to death. It just feels like it's a no-win situation. So I got the Dogs by the 20+. They'll win this game big.
So for me, man, this is it's football season. We should be talking about football. All Kentucky and all Kentucky fans is talking about everything but football here. And it really bothers me. We're going to get into that more at the end of the show. But it really does bother me. We are in season. We should be worried about snapping the ball and going down to Georgia and playing good football. That's what we should be worried about here as a fan. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like anybody even cares about this game in the state of Kentucky. The Georgia people do after losing last week. I guarantee you they do. And I guarantee you this game means something. They remember what happened last year in Lexington. I know they do. 100% they do. They damn near got beat and should have really last year in Lexington. And, Cutter Bowley's going down there. They will have to have some offense. But here's my thing. Don't be surprised. Kentucky usually starts the games out pretty good. If you look at first quarters, Kentucky usually has a darn lead at the end of the first quarter in most games, to be quite honest. They just fall apart after the first quarter for whatever reason. So, I expect to see the Dogs in this game. I really expect to see them come out, play hard. They're going to be motivated. They're coming off of a loss at home. Like I said, the first one since 2019 at home.
That's hard to believe.
I want to take Kentucky in the points in this game. But with everything that's going on in the state of Kentucky and the focus, I think it's going to be hard for this team to stay together, to be honest with you. So I'm going to take Georgia in the points in this one, unfortunately. And John's quiet as a mouse.
Well, it is what it is. I love Kentucky football. And I'm going to say this real quick. I love our program. That's not what we're getting at here. But there's so many distractions. There's so many things happening.
Unfortunately, man, and it really irks my soul. I'm going to get into it more as
we'll get into it towards the end of the show. But I love the program dearly. But to me, Brad, it feels like a bad marriage that has went south, and it's never getting to the back to the original standing between two people at the altar type thing.
Yeah, but this comes from all sides. This comes from everywhere, and we're going to get into it.
It's unfortunate. And Monica just says, my Dogs are going to kick ass, she said.
Yeah. That's all I have to say. I'll put it up there. We already know. We discussed this already.
Oh, yeah. Let's move on, Brad.
All right, John. The next one we're going to get to is a Big 12 matchup. Iowa State is at Cincinnati, and this one kind of surprises me a little bit because Cincinnati is a home favorite here slightly over Iowa State. Cincinnati at home is a 1.5-point favorite. Does that surprise you?
Yeah, a little bit. Iowa State is looking to, start the season undefeated, continue. Cincinnati, I feel like, has played really competitive. They went to Kansas, won. Scott Satterfield, I think, he's been on the hot seat. They got a good quarterback in Brendan Sorsby. I just think I'm going to take Iowa State in this game just because of their all-around ability to change plays defensively. I think they got the better quarterback in Rhett and Beck. But Cincinnati has a big opportunity to really take charge in the Big 12 if they win this game. If they somehow can come out of this game with a win, we might be talking about Cincinnati being in the mix for the Big 12 championship.
That would surprise me just a bit here, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Honestly, yes.
I was actually surprised last week that they got a 3-point win at Kansas. Iowa State has played really well, John. They're undefeated still.
I agree. They had that good game against Kansas State. They beat Arkansas State. So they
beat Iowa. Second game, yeah, they beat Iowa already.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State has looked good. Matt Campbell's done a great job here. I like their quarterback. He does a great job for them and operates their offense really well. I think he does a great job for them for the Cyclones. Listen, if you're going to give me a 1.5 and Iowa State at Cincinnati, I'm taking it. I just don't see. I mean, Cincinnati could win. They could kick a field goal and win like they did last week. I don't know. I'm not saying they can't. But if I'm betting on this, I'm taking the Cyclones.
Yeah, I am too.
All right, we're going to go to the Big Ten, John. This is Illinois is at Purdue. These are some games. There's a few games in here that I wasn't too sure about. This is one of them. Purdue has not been fantastic, but at the same time, they've not been getting blown out. And this is what seems like a little bit of a better Boilermaker team here. And Illinois is on the road as an 8.5-point favorite on the road.
Well, you got the last second win last week over USC. You got Ohio State coming up next Saturday. I think this could be a trap game, Brad. Purdue's defense is not great. They've given up 89 points to USC and Notre Dame. But I feel like, this could be a hangover type game for Illinois, especially on the road. Plus, it's a noon kick, and you never know what you'll get with a noon kick. Will they start fast? Will they wait until the fourth quarter to finally figure it out? But I think I'm going to take Illinois in this game. I just don't trust Purdue just yet. I think they're improving under their new coach, Odom. I think he's going to get them to where they need to be, but I don't think he gets them to where they need to be against Illinois, a really good Illinois team that has a really good offense.
They do. And Illinois, I thought was going to show something versus Indiana and absolutely did not under no circumstance. Was absolutely shocked at that game and just how they let go of the rope in that game, Illinois. But they did bounce back last week, win a big game against USC last week. And had they were an underdog in that game last week and, bounced back and got a big win. And Purdue, while improving, Odom is out there now, come from UNLV in his first year as the Boilermakers coach here. And I think they are improving, but they're not ready, I don't think, to keep this game real close.
Their defense is not great.
I mean, will this game be a 45-10 blowout? It would surprise me, but I do think Illinois can win by 2 touchdowns or so, something like that. So I'm going to take Illinois in the points in this one as well. All right, John, this is the big game of the week. No, I'm just playing here. We got Dabo Swinney and Clemson as a 14-point favorite at UNC, and everybody, I think, now knows who is coaching the Tar Heels. You got Dabo versus Bill Belichick. It's kind of intriguing, but as bad as Clemson has played, somehow they're a 14-point favorite on the road, John. Are they not 1-3? Because I'm pretty sure they are.
They've not played good,
How do you have a 14-point favorite on the road?
Well, North Carolina is ranked number 59 in total defense. They're not great in pass defense. Klubnik.
Has Clemson even scored 14 points in how many games? I'm not even sure. I mean, come on now.
They scored 10, I think, against LSU, 24, 27 against Troy, and I think they had, what was it last week? 14, maybe 21.
I'm telling you, they struggled to even score 14 points.
Well, I think this is a kind of a bounce back game. He threw for 363 yards against Syracuse. And Syracuse defense is not great, and neither is North Carolina's. I think he's only had one game in which he's completed more than 62% of his passes. Like, their playoff hopes are over pretty much, but I feel like the season isn't. You got Klubnik. I think this game represents, a chance for him to kind of have a breakout game, get some confidence, kind of get his name back to why he was in the middle of the Heisman conversation. The North Carolina defense is probably a cure for them with how North Carolina has played. North Carolina's given up chunks of yardage on defense. And Klubnik, when he's on and he's making throws and he's hitting downfield shots, that can be a major issue for the Tar Heels tomorrow. So give me Clemson, give me the 14 points. I think they rout this game.
God, I'm telling you, I can't do it, man. Like, their offense has been next to nothing.
Yeah, but they're going up against a defense that's not good in North Carolina's.
I mean,
we're talking.
I know they're not great, but Clemson ain't been great either. Like, they look.
I agree with you. But I just think, this is a kind of a get right type game.
This game might be 14-10. Like, seriously.
Then again, it might be 28-10 North Carolina or Clemson. So, hello, Jerry. Good to see you.
What's up, Jerry? All right, man. Listen, you're taking Clemson. I can't take the point. 14's too high for me. I think Clemson wins this game. I just can't take the 14 points. I'm going North Carolina. I just can't do it. Until Clemson shows me they have an offense, I can't do 14 points.
I'm probably going to regret this tomorrow, but I just feel like Klubnik's going to figure it out tomorrow.
All right, Kansas State is at Baylor. Kansas State was a preseason one of the favorites in the Big 12 and have struggled a little bit out of the stretch here. But they are at Baylor tomorrow in Waco, John, and the Baylor Bears are a 5.5-point favorite at home.
This is another toss-up game. Kansas State lost to Army. And Baylor, they've had some good moments this year. They come back and beat SMU. And I'm going to be honest with you, Brad. Winning in Waco is tough. It's a tough environment, tough place to play. I just don't trust Kansas State on the road. With the way they've been playing
so far this year, to be honest. They're okay defensively. They're not giving up chunks and chunks of points or anything.
See, here's my thing. Avery Johnson has got to play better than what he's been doing for them to have a chance. And I think Baylor has improved. Dave Aranda was on the hot seat starting the year. I think he's kind of figured it out. He's starting to figure it out with this team. They're starting to play better. They're starting to score. They probably got one of the better quarterbacks in the country in Sawyer Robertson. I think he's one of the top quarterbacks in the country. They got a good run game. Their defense is kind of bend but don't break type. I just think Baylor at home is the better solution here. I just don't trust Avery Johnson, this offense on the road.
Yeah, man, I can't go there with Kansas State. They just kind of like Clemson, they have not looked great. I thought they would be much better. I thought Clemson was going to be much better. If you would have asked me in week 1 about this game, I would have taken Kansas State in a heartbeat. Like you said, Dave Aranda has been on the hot seat what seems like for 2 or 3 years now at Baylor. He somehow is still there. And they turned it around a little bit towards the end of the year last year. They have started out okay, but they're playing better. and at home they have looked better. So I'm taking the Baylor Bears and laying 5.5 points here in this one, I believe. So I'm going to show Jerry's talking about Baylor here. Yes, I think we'll score against Georgia. Yes. John Robinson. I think we'll at least score. Yes. I will say that.
Yeah.
I would I would be I would be shocked if Kentucky doesn't score. Come on now. All right. This is one of the big games of the week. Everybody remembers last year, Diego Pavia and the Vanderbilt Commodores shocked the world, took down at the time #1 Alabama last year. And this is in Tuscaloosa. This is going to be a different task for Diego Pavia and the Commodores here. Bama's coming off of that win against the Georgia Bulldogs last week in Athens at Sanford Stadium. So, John, the Crimson Tide here are 11.5-point favorite at home against Diego Pavia. We've been talking about him for like 3 years on this show. What do you think, man? Does he have some magic tomorrow?
This is a tough one as well. But I like the revenge factor here because Nick Saban was good at this. Those revenge games. And, Ty Simpson, I think, has played really, really well. He's got 11 touchdowns. You know what's crazy? He don't have any interceptions.
Since the first game, Ty Simpson has played really well.
You look at last year, Vanderbilt beat Alabama. Diego had 300 and something total yards. I think he'll score some points this week. I just don't think it's going to be enough. I think this is a situation where Kevin DeBoer and Alabama have figured things out. They went on the road last week, put on made a statement on the road at Georgia. Now, I will say Diego Pavia is probably one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the country. Bama can look back and realize, firsthand how good this guy can be. But I'm not expecting a repeat from last year. I'm expecting Alabama to come out prepared, ready to play. I think this is a different Alabama team since they beat Georgia. I think they're more focused defensively. I think their offense has figured it out. I think this Alabama team has a really good opportunity to make some noise in the college football playoff.
Well, for me, man, listen, I think this game, I'll say this. Okay, Ryan Grubb seems like they are starting to figure things out. Ryan Grubb is the new offensive coordinator. He's the old offensive coordinator for Kalen DeBoer, coming back into the fold here under Kalen at Alabama this year. And I said at the beginning of the season, preseason, that I thought that was going to be a big difference for the Crimson Tide here. And the first game, they didn't really show that. They struggled, and Ty Simpson struggled, but they have made lots of improvements since that first game. Now, I'll say this. Diego Pavia and this Commodore team has been putting up a lot of points on the board. Now, you can say they haven't played anybody that's real so far. You can say that if you want. But Diego Pavia has done it against Alabama, has done it against these teams, and beat Auburn on the road at New Mexico State. I mean, Diego Pavia has done it against really good competitions in tough places. So you can't count them out here at all. I do think the revenge factor is going to play a little bit of a role in this game. But, John, I think the point spread's too high. I think it's a 10-point game or under.
Yeah.
I think it's like a 10-point game. I think I'm going to take the Commodores and the
I
11
think
and a half points.
I think I'm going to take Vanderbilt to cover this game.
I really think that you don't be surprised if Diego Pavia keeps them in the game. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I think he keeps them in the game. All right, John, before we move on to the next topic, I just want to remind everybody at the top of the screen is our Bet Us, Bet US QR code at the top of the screen. Scan the code. It's with us, College Sportscast, and the Real Fresh channel. You get 3 deposit matches of 125% deposit matches. 3 of them, your first 3 deposits will be matched at 125%. Scan the QR code, and you will get that to do some betting on college sports, and that's what we're doing here. So at the top of the screen on the left side, scan the QR code, get your deposit matches today. All right. We are going to move on, John. Texas is on the road at Florida in the swamp. And I'm not sure if has Texas ever played in the swamp before, because I'm guessing no, to be quite honest. Here in the swamp, probably the first time here. Texas is a 5.5-point favorite on the road in the swamp, which is really tough to see. Florida has been down, lost some games already, John. Quite 3, I think. Who are you picking here in this one?
I think this is going to be a muddy, low-scoring, grinded out type football game.
Arch has not played great so far, to be honest.
Florida's defense has been really, really good. LSU and Miami, they had some time struggling, trying to pull away, which they pretty much controlled the game the rest of the way. But on the other side of things, you got a Texas defense is probably better than Florida. I think Arch Manning does just enough to win this game and just continues to put pressure on Florida to fire Billy Napier. I don't see them winning this football game.
I will say this, John. Florida's defense is better. Florida's defense is better than their record. I mean, they do have a pretty stout defense,
but their offense can simply not move the football. It's been a slug all season long. They had the Miami game, they had the LSU game. There were so many chances they could got down there and scored. They had the interceptions from Lagway. Even Arch, where he's not played great.
Florida's defense cause havoc and cause Arch to struggle.
They could. Arch has not played great. Let's be honest. He's not played great against Ohio State. He didn't play good against UTEP. Now he did play good last week against Sam Houston State, but they're probably the worst team in Division One.
One of them, yeah.
Let's be honest. But now he's going up against probably a really good Tennessee, Florida defense that's great. But the problem with the defense is Florida's defense has been pretty much on the field the whole night. And they get worn down, and the offense can't move the football. I just think this is another one of those moments. I think Arch does enough, and they cover the 5.5, and they get out of Gainesville with a win.
I'm telling you, this is going to be a tough environment, a tough place. The crowd's going to be crazy down there in the swamp, and Arch is going to have to play well despite a really good Florida defense. I will agree with you. The offense on this team so far has been next to nil. I mean, looks ugly
Cody,
in every game.
We'll get to that. That's what we're going to get to after we do the pick'ems. He said, "What about the whole Stoops Tennessee thing last year?"
Yeah, we're going to get to that at the end of the show, man.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah, so hang on with us to the end. But in this game, man, we're gonna I'm going to take Texas, but I got a quick question to go with this. Is that the nail in the coffin for Napier if he loses this game?
Hell, I think his coffin was buried at LSU.
He's still there.
He's still there, but I think that was the game that, kind of put the nail in the birdie type thing. Like,
all right,
his time's short. Let's be honest. His time's short.
Listen, Sam Pittman got it this week, and Napier's still there. I'm just saying, is this the week? Is this the loss that gets him? I don't know. All right, John, we're going to move on. I don't do a whole lot of Louisville games, but Virginia has played pretty well so far. Won a big game last week. I think they're 4-1. Heading into this game, they are at Louisville tomorrow, and the Cardinals are a 6.5-point favorite at home here.
Did you know that Virginia is ranked 8th in FBS with 46.8 points per game?
Yeah, they've been playing really well, Virginia. The Cavs have been playing great.
This has a chance to be one of the wildest games of the weekend. I think it was the last 4 meetings, the game has been decided by 7 points or less. You got Miller Moss on one side. You got Chandler on the other side for Virginia, which he looked outstanding last week in the upset over Florida State.
He did. And they got a big win last week. And now that was at home. But
the question is, can they go on the road and beat, I wouldn't say maybe an average Louisville team?
I mean, Louisville's not ranked yet. They're getting close. They win this game, they might be.
I feel like they're being overlooked. I mean, they're the only team that's undefeated that's not ranked.
Still undefeated, yeah.
I love Jeff Brom. I think he's got a really good offense. They're really, grinded out type pesky on defense. Virginia's defense is not great. I think Louisville can move the football on them.
They've been outscoring some teams. I mean, they are 4-1, so they have been outscoring teams.
I expect a high-scoring game in this game.
Yep.
I think I'm going to take Louisville in the 6.5. Virginia has to go on the road here. If this was at Virginia, I'd probably pick Virginia. But Louisville's a tough environment to play in, especially the last couple of years, especially with Jeff Brom at the helm. So give me the Cards.
I want to take Virginia because they have looked so well, played so well. Their only loss is against NC State. It was a very up and back and forth game, high scoring. I expect this game to be in the 30s at the very least on both teams. At the very least, because they both can put points on the board and move the football on offense. Like you said, I thought last week Miller Moss struggled at least in the first half. Threw quite a few interceptions, threw 3 interceptions last week.
Yeah, he didn't play the best, but I felt like
Louisville almost lost a game last week that they shouldn't have.
I feel like Pitt beat themselves at times, though.
I feel like they almost lost a game that they shouldn't have last week. Virginia could surprise people here, but I am going to take the Cards at home. It's 6.5. If this was 7.5, I might take Virginia the points, but I think the Cardinals can win this by at least a touchdown. So I'm going to take the Cardinals at home in this one. John, this is a pretty big game this week as well. I don't think too many people realize that Maryland is one of the 20 still remaining undefeated teams in college football, and they are still unbeaten. Washington is coming in off of their loss last week at home, another team that had a long win streak snapped since 2021. They had won 22 straight games at home, and lost last week, but they are a 5.5-point favorite here on the road in Maryland.
Washington's offensive line has not been great. The ground game has been pretty good, but they didn't get much of a opportunity against the Buckeyes. They're, Ohio State felt like it was in the backfield pretty much all night. Maryland's front four has been really, really good. They're tied for in the country for 4 sacks per game. I think they're going to keep some pressure on Damon Williams, their quarterback, which is a really good quarterback for Washington, but he had a struggle last week. But most teams would struggle against a team like Ohio State. But my biggest question is, can Washington handle this long road trip? Like, this is like way away from where they are. It's adding into the country. Yeah, adding into the Big Ten now. You're not in the Pac-12. They not as good as they was last year. Maryland's playing really well. They've had 2 weeks, I think, on a bye.
Yep.
I think this is going to be a defensive battle. And I think Maryland pulls it out in the end. I just think Washington's offensive line is going to get some pressure from this Maryland front. This Maryland front's really, really good.
Yeah, and like I said, John, Maryland, the Terps are still one of 20 undefeated teams still in the country.
And Malik Washington, their quarterback, is really, really good. Maryland.
Yeah, and they have been playing really well. Like you said, they are coming off of a bye week. Washington's coming off of this home loss. I mean, it was to the Ohio State Buckeyes last week. So, I mean, you're not talking about they lost to some scrub or something at home here. They lost to the number 1 team in the country in the polls last week at home, but it was like 24-6. They really didn't put up a bunch of struggle, in that game last week. They struggled to put up points. Maryland has played better here. I'm going to take the Terps and the 5.5. I do think Washington could sneak out a win here, but I do think I'm going to take the Terps and the 5.5. John, we're going to stay in the Big Ten here. Michigan State is at Nebraska. Nebraska is a 12.5-point favorite, and talking about putting up a lot of points, Nebraska is one of the top teams in the country of putting up points. You're muted.
This is tough. Nebraska's been off and on. Feels like all year. I like Nebraska at home. Michigan State, they had those 2 games early in the year, and then they went to USC, got behind, had to come back. I feel like the quarterback play, Childs, has been pretty good. Their defense has not been great. Dylan Raiola has not played great at times. This is
they have put a lot of points on the board, though.
They have. This is kind of like a pick'em game, and I think this line is a little high, to be honest, for what it is. Michigan State's improved, I think, under new coach, the Oregon State coach from Jonathan Smith. I think they got a really good coach there. I think I'm going to take Michigan State to cover the spread. I think this is just really too high with how Nebraska has been kind of iffy at times. The Michigan game, they didn't look great. They didn't play. The offense at times had trouble moving the ball, except for the big long Hail Mary pass for halftime. But they had so many plays they could have won the game with, and they just never could get it together. I think they'll struggle in this game, but I think they'll end up winning it towards the end.
So here's my thing. Michigan State's defense is not great. And Nebraska offense is pretty good, especially throwing the ball around the field. I think that's going to be a recipe for disaster here for the Spartans.
Yeah, and
Hopefully,
Michigan State. You look, what was it? A couple of weeks ago, they played USC. It might have been weeks ago, or something like that. But they got behind real big on the road. They had to come back. They fought back, and their defense just could not make a stop. USC finally went on to win. I just think the defense is going to struggle in this game. Their offense can pretty much hang with anybody, but if you can't get stops, you're not going to win many games.
this line does scare me a little bit. I think it could be a 10-point game, but it could be a 14-point game. So since you're going Michigan State, I think I'm going to take the opposite here and take Nebraska, take the Cornhuskers at home. It's time for them to show something in Lincoln, to be honest. All right, we're going to go out to the Big 12. This is a big game in the Big 12 this week. Houston, John, if I'm not mistaken, they're still undefeated as well, right?
They're 4-0, yeah.
That's what I thought. They're one of the 20 undefeated teams. Texas Tech has played really well, and one of them too. Texas Tech on the road in Houston is a 12.5-point favorite, John. Do you think that's high for the Red Raiders?
Not really. I mean, I liked Will Hammond. I thought he'd come in and done good after Morton got hurt. Now Morton's probably going to play this weekend. This is a really stingy Houston defense. Just 4.0 yards per snap. Now the Houston's offense is not great. I think, and that's why I think I'm going to keep Tech winning this game. I just think Tech has enough offense to win this game on the road. Their defense ain't great, but they surprised me a couple weeks ago whipping Utah like they did. So maybe they'll just come out and keep doing the same thing. They went high in the portal. They got a lot of great stars on this team. This might be Texas Tech's year to actually do something in the Big 12.
It could be. Houston does have a quarterback that I think a lot of people would recognize, and I'm not sure that everybody in the country knows. But Connor Wigman from
Texas A&M.
From Texas A&M is the current quarterback at Houston, and got them 4-0. They're undefeated. They won a big game at home last week. And come through because they had to come from behind to do it. Oregon State kind of jumped out on them. This was at home for them. They come back, fought through it, got a 27-24 win at home last week to remain undefeated. So got to give Houston a shout out here for the job that they've done and what Connor Wigman's done with the Cougars. But, John, I'm in agree with you, man. The Red Raiders look like the real deal out there in the Big 12 land here. And like you said, this could be their year. I mean, you have no Texas. You have no Oklahoma. The Big 12 has went through a change. Last year, Arizona State snuck up, won the league without Texas and Oklahoma in it. This is just the second year.
I actually think Iowa State and Texas Tech are the two best teams in the Big 12 right now.
I agree with you, and I'm going to stick with the Red Raiders here, even though this is in Houston, and Houston does have a good defense.
Their defense is really good.
But Texas Tech's quarterback has been playing really well. Yeah. I think he's healthy enough to play in this one.
I actually like the backup, Hammond, Will Hammond. Yeah. That ain't my first cousin, by the way.
Hammond.
Oh, mercy.
All right, John, this is a big one of this week. One of the big games this week, I think. We got Miami. The Hurricanes are at Florida State. Of course, John, Florida State is coming off of the surprise loss on the road last week.
This is
and
big.
The Hurricanes are a 4.5-point favorite in Tallahassee.
this is the big 7:30 ABC kick. This is the big one.
Yep.
You know, there's some good things I like about FSU, and then there's some bad things. And I'm talking about their defense last week.
Yeah.
Or, well, 2 weeks ago, whenever, it was last week.
It was last week.
Just not good. Virginia just run up and down the field all night long. And the thing about it is you look at this Miami team.
And Miami's offense has been pretty good so far.
They have. And their offense has been going at it up and down the field. Carson Beck is having one of his greatest, probably his best season since he first got to Georgia. Let's be honest.
Pretty good so far.
And he's looked good. Like I said,
Miami's undefeated and moved up to number 2 in the polls this week.
Now let's be honest. He's making his first true road start, so he's going to have to avoid turnovers in this game. Like I said, Florida State was showing there's a lot of problems with that run defense last week. And Miami's got the backs, they got the line, they got the front four. This might be the best Miami team they've had in quite some time.
Yep, could be.
And I think I'm going to go Miami, Brad. I think they win, and I think they cover this spread. I just don't – even though it's at home, I love this Miami team. I think they're really, really good. I think they got the line play. They got talent. This is the year. Listen, Miami fans, if you want to get to the big dance and do some things, this is the year to do it because you got the team to do it.
Listen, right now, I am a believer in the Miami Hurricanes. Carson Beck has been playing really well. I love their defensive end. They have the running backs. They have the receivers. Like John said, this is possibly one of the better Miami Hurricane teams since the mid-2000s. Somewhere in that range, possibly. They paid a king's ransom for Carson Beck to come in there. I mean, let's be honest. They went out and landed a big fish in the offseason to replace Cam Ward. They needed that because they had the pieces on this team. And so far, Carson Beck has played really, really, really good. Now, I will say this. Costellos or whatever, Tommy, what's his name, last name?
Tommy Castellanos.
All right. He's played well. Like, he's done pretty good. Beat Alabama in week 1. So I don't think Florida State is going to fold in this game one bit. This should be one of the better games of the day tomorrow. Like John said, this is the primetime game tomorrow night. So tune in. This should be a really good game. I'm going to take the Hurricanes here in this one, though. In Tallahassee, I feel like it's just leaning that way this season. But maybe tomorrow night will tell me something different. But as of right now, I'm going to take the Hurricanes in this one. John, this is number 13. This is the last game we're going to talk about here tonight. Mississippi State Bulldogs, I think, are sitting at 4-1, taking on Texas A&M. The Aggies are still undefeated at home. College Station, 16.5-point favorite. I like this game. I think it should be a fun game. Levy has Mississippi State playing well.
He does. They've improved. I just think a primetime road game at A&M is going to be a big test for them, especially coming off the loss to Tennessee. Texas A&M has had more than 200 yards rushing in its last 2 games. That's against Auburn and Notre Dame.
Yep.
And a Mississippi State defense that's, fairly decent. I'm going to be honest with you, Brad. I like this Mississippi State offense. I like how they run stuff. They run a lot of jet sweeps. They throw the ball up and down the field, verticals. They do a lot of fun up and down, sort of like, they do a lot of bit of the
Air raid.
Air raid.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a spread type thing, but it's fun to watch. That's all I'll say. This could be a shootout, Brad.
Yep.
Let's be honest. And I
Mississippi
think I'm going to go.
Put up a lot of points.
I think I'm going to go. I'm going to take Texas A&M to win, but I think I'm going to take Mississippi State to cover. I just think this is too high of a spread for the type of opponent they got coming in, because Mississippi State's not going to fold over. We saw last week they played really great against Tennessee.
Took Tennessee to overtime. Was leading with a 5-6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Took them to overtime. Scored 34 points against Tennessee, and had chances to put that game away. This Mississippi State team has been impressive so far. They took out Arizona State in week 2.
They're improved. They played a lot better, man.
And I'll say this, Texas A&M, while winning, the last week against Auburn, 16-10, honestly, really wasn't all that impressive. I think they're going to have to play better than they did against Auburn. And this is at home. This is in College Station. The Aggies should come out and be ready to play on this game. Elko's done a great job there. But I got to give a huge shout out to Jeff Levy. He looks like he knows exactly what he's doing now. Year 1 did not look good, and I think a lot of people was already giving up on him. But he is showing that his offense, if you remember his Oklahoma days, his offense is really, really good. And I'm with you, John. I think the Bulldogs here can hold it within 16 and a half points. I think they're going to put some points on the board. They was not scared against Tennessee. I don't think they'll be scared against the Texas A&M Aggies either.
No. Are you ready for the good, the bad, the ugly?
Give me the Bulldogs. We're gonna get to that. Right at the end. 3 deposit matches. Scan the QR code. I am going to take the QR code down. This is at Bet Us with the Real Fresh channel and College SportsCast. I am going to take that one down. And before we move on, I am going to talk about Home Field Apparel. So Home Field Apparel, check out some really cool retro apparel, some vintage apparel, collegiate license apparel. It's really cool stuff with mascots and logos and throwback jerseys and things like that. They have bomber jackets that's really cool. Check them out. Use our code CSCAST at the top of the screen. There will be another QR code. I'm going to leave this up while we talk and do our good, bad, and ugly and talk a little bit about Kentucky.
From last week, because we didn't do our Big Fuss show. We had a lot going on this week, and I kind of wanted to do that this week for the Game Day Pick'em show. So I want to go first, Brad, with the good, the bad, the ugly.
The good, the bad, the ugly is on the bottom of the screen. John, this is from week 5 of college football. Give me your good.
My good is Alabama. They went into Georgia, played really, really well. Ty Simpson was 24 of 38. He threw for over 200-something yards. He had a score on the ground. This was against a good Georgia defense, too. Not your normal Georgia defense, but a really good defense. They played probably one of their most flawless games. They didn't have any turnovers. They went 13 of 19 on third down. This was the type of win that Kalen DeBoer needed, that Alabama can still show that they can compete with the rest of college football. And I
He's
think they did that.
2-0 against the Bulldogs.
And I think they did that. And I think they took care of business there. My other good is Illinois. They bounced back in Champaign. They beat USC. This game was back and forth, back and forth. Illinois was ready for it. They took on the challenge. Luke Altmaier was really, really good. USC got back in it late in the fourth. I think they took a lead really quick. Then Illinois went down and kicked the field goal to win it. Now they come in and they play Purdue this week before facing their big matchup with Ohio State that has a lot of Big Ten ramifications. That's my good for the week.
That's your good? All right. So for me, man, I'm going to be honest with you. I think Virginia, I got to give a big shout out to Virginia. I mean, if you guys know, a few years ago, they had some really bad stuff going on in Virginia. I think they had to shut down the end of the season. And this was within the football team, and have a new coach here and getting a big win at home. And I don't know if you guys saw I'm not a big proponent of rushing the field and the crowd rush and all that. I'm not a big proponent of it. But, man, I don't know if you guys seen Virginia at the end when they rushed the field. If you're going to do it, man, that's how you do it. That was an impressive field rush. They had the whole field covered and just having a good time, jumping up and down. You could tell that they've been through some struggles. The Virginia Cavaliers.
They had the shooting. They had a couple players die.
Yep.
There was just a lot.
And the team. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I mean. They've had a lot go on in that program.
And that was within the last 2 or 3 years. I can't remember if it was 2 seasons ago, if it was 3 seasons ago that happened. I can't remember. But I got to give a huge shout out to the Virginia Cavaliers and the job they have done, the new coach coming in and kind of reviving that program, just to be honest with you. And then I'm going to go with you on the Bama. Kalen DeBoer getting a big win. Because here's the deal. If he doesn't win that game last week and he's sitting at 2-2 with the Crimson Tide after week 5, it's not going to bode well for him. I think that was a huge, huge win for Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. Now they got to back it up this week against Vandy, but we'll see. So, all right, give me your bad from last week.
James Franklin.
Penn State. 4-21. Is that bad?
4-21 versus top 10 teams, and he's 1-15. And 1-15 versus top 5 teams.
Let me get this right. 4-21. If I calculate this right, that would be 16%. Is that right?
That's
That's not good, Bob.
No, that's my saying. You can't have it. But like I said, Penn State. Now, to be fair, their national title expectations are still there, but this loss came in September, right out of the gate against a really, really good Oregon team that's playing about as good as anybody. Dante Moore, they got a really good quarterback there. I feel like this team is no different than the Franklin teams we've seen in the last 3 years. Allar has not been great. Now, he did play good, I thought, in the second half, but his, pick and double overtime pretty much sealed the game, which in all grand scheme of things puts a very dark tunnel on it. So mine's Franklin. I think he continues to do this. And at some point, do you think Penn State is just ready to say, you know what, let's go somewhere else and figure out some changes and get us a new coach or something, because those numbers are not good.
All right, I'm going to surprise you because I've got two here that I'm going to talk about.
I had another one that was bad.
All right, go ahead.
My other one was LSU. The
Yep.
offense was not great. Now they got close towards the end. They made some plays to get back in the game, but I felt like Ole Miss did what they had to do. Chambliss is playing really well. He's probably one of the best stories of this whole season. Y'all got to know the story. He transferred from Division II Ferris State and has been unbelievable.
Yeah.
Since Austin Simmons went down hurt, I think in the Kentucky game. He's 385 yards of offense, and they're still in position to make a run at the college football playoff.
Yep.
And that says a lot about where this kid came from, what's happening with him. Division II, y'all, Ferris State. And he's leading,
not FCS, Division II.
And he's leading the Ole Miss Rebels to a 4-0 start. Or is it 5-0, 4-0?
I think they're 5-0. Yeah.
They're 5-0.
I don't think they're better.
And looking at their first berth ever as a program in the college football playoff, that says a lot about the kid and the moxie he's got.
All right, so I'm going to give you two real quick, and one of them I'm not going to spend a lot of time on because he's been so good with versus every single body else. Kirby Smart is 1-7 versus Alabama.
Yep. I know you was doing there.
His one was a national championship game. I'll give you that, man. He won a title against Nick Saban and the Crimson Tide, and that's not easy to do. So I'll give it to you. But I'm going to tell you right now, Kirby, you're 107-13 against everybody else. I don't know if y'all heard that, but 107-13. He's 1-7 versus Alabama.
He's got a Bama problem.
Somebody's kryptonite. Where's Crimson? Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yep.
All right. My next one, bad. Listen, Lincoln Riley at USC has been nothing but bad. I hate to tell everybody, I don't know, just kind of what you were talking about with James Franklin. I'm going to give you another record. At Oklahoma, Lincoln Riley was 15-6 versus ranked teams. At USC, he's 4-11 against ranked teams. At USC, I don't know about you guys, but USC has fired a bunch of good coaches, including Sark, Lane Kiffin. Like, they've fired a bunch of good coaches. They fired Ed Orgeron, who went on and won a national title at LSU. I'm just saying they've fired a ton of good coaches over the last, 30, 40 years. And Lincoln Riley, 4-11 is not good. It's just not good. It's plain bad. You've got to figure out ways to win. I don't know what's happened. And you had the Heisman winner that went with you at USC, and you are 4-11 at one of the most storied tradition universities across the country that there is. You got to win some games against some ranked opponents and some good teams. That's all I'm saying. That's bad. All right. Ugly. Give it to me, John. Give it to me.
We'll just make this quick so we can get to the other thing because we're running out of time. Mine was Arkansas. What a pitiful performance Saturday.
Yeah,
that was about as
that was pretty ugly.
The wheels fell off quick.
Ugly enough that Bobby Petrino's the head coach again.
Yeah. Pittman.
I'm sorry. I had to go there.
Yeah. So mine was Arkansas.
Okay. I'm sorry. I had to go there, John. I had to. Mine, I'm going to be honest with you. I turned the game off in the second quarter, midway through. If you are going to South Carolina, you have to play like you know how to play football. The one thing South Carolina does do well is score on special teams and defense. Before last week, well, I mean, over the last year, they have struggled offensively. They've put up less than 17 points on offense in like 12 or 13 straight games, something like that. 10 games, 12 games. The one thing you can't do is play like you can't protect the ball. Okay?
Yeah.
2 straight plays, 2 defensive touchdowns, and getting blown out on the road to a not so great South Carolina team is flat out ugly.
Yeah, and I'm going to let you say your piece. We're getting ready to get into this whole Mark Stoops thing about what happened today. I'm going to say my piece because I got to run. But so today on the Alan Cutler show, everybody knows who Alan Cutler is. We've had him on the show. He has a radio show. I think it's
ESPN
on ESPN what?
92.9, I think, or
something like that. But he said that sources are telling me that Mark Stoops went to Mitch Barnhart after the Tennessee game and said he wanted out
last year,
and he wanted out and he would negotiate the buyout, and it never happened. Okay. He also mentioned later in his radio show that he wondered if Barnhart did not respond to Stoops wanting a buyout because Kentucky didn't have the money to negotiate with Stoops. If this report is true, it's very shocking and comes out of nowhere. This was from an article. Stoops is now in his 13th year, Brad. He's 79 and 75, okay? A 51% winning percentage. If you take out his 2021 year, his record is 69-75. The timing of this is very weird, Brad. And I say that because Kentucky is currently going to Georgia. And Stoops apparently was on a plane headed to Texas A&M in 23 before a deal fell through last week or last year. And this report tells me that Stoops, to me, is not committed to this job. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to be interested to see how Stoops addresses what Cutler says, maybe after the post game, maybe whenever he gets answered about it. Listen, y'all, when there's a bad marriage, I'm going to kind of use this as a hypothetical. When there's a bad marriage and you got the wife sleeping in the bed, you got the husband sleeping on the couch, there's no TV on in the living room, the dog is, laying across the floor, he don't know what's going on. At some point, you got to cut the cord. And, I love Kentucky football. That's all I've ever known ever since I was growing up. Kentucky football was my life. Even in the down years, I love Kentucky football. It was everything to me. But at some time or another, you got to make some changes, whether that's Stoops, whether that's the offensive coordinator, whether that's the defensive coordinator, whether it's to clean house, whether it's to try to fix everything and try to piece it back together. But my issue is why does every OC that comes here ends up going somewhere else, and they end up doing a better job than they do here. And it all points back to the head man at the end of the day. The head man gets the blame. Stoops. And I'm gonna let Brad go on, but this report right here tells me, whether true or not, that Stoops is tired. He's out. He don't want to coach no more here. It just feels like he's at the end of his rope. And as a fan base, I can't blame him. Because the fan apathy has set in, and like Brad said earlier, fans, they don't even care about this game tomorrow. That's how bad it is.
Well, that's where I'm going to jump in. That's where I'm going to start.
I gotta go. You have a great night, Brad, and enjoy the games tomorrow. And I will talk to you later.
All right, man. We'll see you, John. That's where I'm going to jump in. I mean, for me, I hate all of it. I mean, I'm here to talk about football. I'm here to watch football. I'm here to actually, suit up, show up, and play some decent, good football, to be quite honest with you. It's football season. We shouldn't even be talking about this. I'm going to be honest with you. Alan Cutler, you've been here. You're a friend. You've been on the show a week and a half, 2 weeks ago on our Wildcat Weekly show. Greatly appreciate you. But I'm going to be honest with you. The day before the Georgia game is not the time to break this. It's just not. The team should be focused on the Georgia Bulldogs. I don't know if you remember or not, but the Georgia Bulldogs are pretty damn good at football. And they're going to Athens tomorrow to take on a team that could absolutely demolish them if they're not ready to play football. And listen, all this, the fans, the game last week, the execution, the dysfunction that's going on, I'm over all of it, to be quite honest with you. I don't know if this report's true. I trust Alan, though. I will say that. I trust that the reports that he has gotten, he believes is true. Now, whether or not it comes from secondhand, and things of that nature, whether that is true, I do not know, have no idea. And at this point, right now, I really don't care. And yes, Jerry Carter says John Gruden. I'm going to put out some names, just to be honest with you. I think if Kentucky is going to do that, a name like John Gruden would be one I would check into. And I'm going to be honest with you. I would check into Jimbo Fisher. I would check in with Dan Mullen. I would check in with Ed Ogeron. We need some proven winners that's done it before. I don't want to hear about coaches who have not even coached Power Four conferences. I don't care if they were a former player. I'm just being honest with you. But here's the deal. We have a bye week after tomorrow. This shit should have come out during the bye week. And I'll be straight up, and I will tell Alan to his face if I need to. I would. And the next time I see him, I might say something to him like that. Because I'm telling you right now, there's a big damn game tomorrow. And we shouldn't be talking about this shit. There's a bye week next week. You want to bring this up on Sunday or Monday? Okay, I'm cool with it. We got a bye week. Let's jibber jab it up for a week. We got a bye week. We can discuss all this and then get ready for football again, because the Texas Longhorns are coming to Kroger Field for the first damn time. Maybe, just maybe, we should be talking about football. That's all I'm going to say. Because that irks me. And it's definitely a fuss-worthy rant. With that said, y'all have a good night. Enjoy the games tomorrow. Looking forward to football again, week 6 of college football. I am Brad, and this has been College Game Day, College Game Day, College Sportscast Game Day Pick'ems, and we appreciate you being with us. Everybody, y'all have a good night. Enjoy some football.